All right, everyone. Andy Hall here. Yeah, I know I shouldn't have my third cup of coffee right here in the splatter zone, but I guess it is. I'm going to try to keep it out of the danger zone. Thank you, Kenny Loggins. Tobin Templeman, how you doing? Well, I finally took the plunge. I took the plunge and told my sister the whole thing. The whole thing. Well, not the whole thing, but a lot of the things about the atheism, the blog, the YouTube channel. I felt like we had reached that part in our new brother-sister relationship since, well, how about you? I know, right? And I'll tell you, I did it in the most socially awkward way possible, Tobin. True to my brand. If I was going to have a brand, it would be socially awkward, right? I'm going to work on the blocks for a little bit, and then I'll read you the text that I told her, because we've been texting back and forth for a while, and it had gotten to the point. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. So far, so good, right? So far, so good. Building some blocks. That's what I'm doing. You know, if I was going to do a video on coming out, it would be the how not to come out. You know, because I think it's somewhat easier, you know, when you grow up with people and then they go, oh, well, you know, of course you're an atheist, or of course you're this way or that way, because I've grown up with you and you know the other person for decades. But, you know, I just met one of, you know, I haven't even met her in person, but we've been pretty much texting back and forth. And there's just, you know, it just becomes in the way. It just gets in the way of the conversation, right? It gets in the way of communication. She's like, so what are you doing today, Andy? It's like, I don't know. I'm just hanging out here at the house. But you're not working. Yeah, that's right. I'm not working at a job. Hey, Theo. What's up, Jenga Jenkins? Jenga Fett, right? That's my favorite Star Wars character of all. Jenga Fett. What's up? All right. So I just came out to my sister. As you all know, this is another episode of Andy's Drama Train here, non-dramatic Drama Train. As you all know, I just became connected with my blood relatives a little while ago, and we've been texting back and forth. My sister and I, my half-sister, my sister. I'm just going to call her my sister because that's what she is. And she seemed pretty cool. And like I was just saying a couple of minutes ago, it just becomes a barrier, you know, not being who you are in the world, not being honest. It just becomes a barrier to people. And to tell you the truth, you know, I lived in the closet for a long time, you know, about when I was, when I was dating my boyfriend Max back in the day. And so, you know, I understand what being in the closet feels like, and it doesn't feel good. And being in the closet about being an atheist or about, you know, doing my business, you know, irritated me a bit, you know. So I decided that I was just going to come out and tell her about what I do in terms of my business model here, my non-business model, in terms of the blog and in terms of YouTube. And I'm just going to read you the text I sent her, right? Hey, this is exactly word for word the text I sent her after we talked about the weather for like a second or two. Yeah, I think we're at a point in our brother-sister relationship that I can tell you I'm a big godless liberal and I have a big godless comedy blog and a small godless YouTube channel. So yeah, and I just told you, yeah, it was like a part-time job for me. So that was probably a socially awkward way for me to do it. I could have done it while we were on the phone together, but texting, that's what all the kids do, right? And why would I do something awkward like that over the phone? So that's my big news for today. Yeah. So that's my journey, my newest journey into. Why is this so wobbly, everyone? I think I completely screwed up. Not the first time I've said that. Well, that's the thing, James Henry, right? There got to be a time when, talking with her that which I felt like I was just closeting myself. And I did that enough during the 80s, to tell you the truth, and I wasn't going to do that now. So I felt like this was the best time, maybe not the best way. And then, and what I wanted to do was get ahead of the story, so to speak, in case anyone in the family actually Googles my name, because I'm kind of all over the place on the internet. So you Google my name with like atheist at the end of it, or, it's not that hard to find me. My shenanigans, especially on Facebook too. So I wanted to definitely talk to her before. It shouldn't matter, you're right. And she's very understanding. She seems pretty cool. I felt pretty good about it. So if nothing else, I feel good. I felt like it was safe for me to talk to her about it. Yeah, I definitely wanted to get ahead of the story in case anyone does Google me, or heaven forbid, I go to a family function. There's supposed to be there's a yearly family function, and I didn't want her to hear about it from somebody else, right? Yeah, dude, that's my name. That's that. That I've never gotten any blowback for saying who I am on the internet. I've never had. Once again, I think comedy gives me a certain amount of protection that a lot of people don't have. It's like, oh, Andy, he's just doing comedy, But yeah, this is just, exactly. It's just me. Yes, the coffee is safely out of the splatter zone here. I learned not to volunteer information. Yeah. But when asked, I have to answer. I see what you're saying, James Henry, and I'm with you on that. I think that I'm in a position in my life that, and we could talk about that too. I'm in a position that I can say a lot of things that people are probably thinking. They're probably thinking, but they're not in the situation that they can speak about it freely. And so for those people who cannot speak about it freely, I feel it's something I need to do. Not only do I feel like I need to say what I need to say, but I know that there are people who feel the same way that I do, but don't have the opportunity to do so. Ah, yes, the mask of the entertainer. You guys see, switching to that. I don't know if you guys saw. I'm an open book. Try to be transparent, but carefully not to get used. Yeah. Good fences make good neighbors, like I was saying yesterday, right? I mean, I'm willing to help people out, and I'm happy to do so. In fact, there are times I've helped people out, and I'm like, listen, dude, you cannot tell people I've helped you. I have no desire for anyone to know that I've given you a hand, because I don't do good things for the sake of doing good. I mean, I don't do good things for accolades, right? I do crappy fart jokes for accolades, but everything else, whatever I do in my personal life in terms of helping people, then that's I keep that I keep that private. Oh yeah, well that's true, James Henry. The point I'm making is that the more a person likes you, the more understanding they'll be. Yeah. That's true. That's why I wanted to build up a friendship or a connection with my sister before dropping the truth bombs there, before talking about who I am in the world. Yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting about we do good to feel good. It's been and this is probably a root of a lot of my comedy, right? Is that you do good even when you know you're going to get kicked in the teeth, right? I don't know if any of the great Stoic philosophers said something like that, but I'm sure it's something. Might have been something that Buddha said, you know. And the more people know you, the less afraid and hateful they are. That's why I always, well, that's why I don't use the word humanist when I describe myself or self-identify. I use the word atheist, just so that, you know, people can say, oh, I've met an atheist and he wasn't a baby-eating, fire-breathing monster. That's completely on point, Theo. The more contact you have with other cultures, the less xenophobic and racist you are. And that's why you see a lot of, I don't want to bring it back to Republicans again, but you see a lot of right-wingers in these very rural areas, and they don't have contact with anybody else. They don't have contact with people who don't look like them, and that can exacerbate, that can make worse their tendencies, negative tendencies, you know, the xenophobic tendencies. Yeah. Here I don't disclose my political views. You know, Holland's become very right wing. You know, I really have to look into that, James Henry. I have to look into that. Because I've heard stories, and I know that you've mentioned it and we've talked about it, but I really have to. Greetings from Rostock, North Germany. Interesting. Hello, Phil Lister. I see you kill the tower today with your right gesture hand. This is correct. This is my right gesture hand, and I am using this to kill the tower. Guilty as charged. I think I only did one tower yesterday, and that was with my left hand. And so I think it's righty's turn, to tell you the truth. I thought. Oh yeah, the big thing here is blackface and Muslim immigration. I've heard about the black. There is a character, and I forget his name. James Henry, you'll forgive me. I know that there is a festival every year, and there is a character who walks around in the parade or in a festival with a blackface. I forget the name of him, but I am aware that there is an ongoing issue about that in Holland. And Muslim immigration, yeah, you know, one of the things that really has caused a lot of right-wing backlash in Europe and here, you know, is immigration. The Dutch claim that blackface isn't race. Yeah. You know, I have to tell you, in terms of the Dutch, I mean, yes, I'm aware that the Dutch had colonies, that they were a colonial power, and in terms of their possessions, I think they were the what is it? Malaysia, Singapore. I think that was Dutch. Santa's dirty helper. That's it. It's Santa's dirty helper. Yeah, that's Red Piet in Dutch. Good. Black Pete. Yeah. Yeah, I read about that. You know, and it always seems to pop up right around that time of year. Indonesia, yep. I don't know, man. I think I picked out a lot of blocks here in the middle. That's my problem. My God, that's just one of my problems. They claim he is black because he crawls down chimneys. Yeah, people always rationalize. People always rationalize their crazy behavior and their immoral behavior, right? Yesterday, I was playing that video on the morning show about this QAnon supporter woman who's no longer a QAnon supporter. She was like, I didn't know that I was in a cult until I got out of a cult. And yeah, you know, there's a lot of, you hear it all the time from a lot of white people. It's like, you know, I'm not racist. Well, it's like, you know, maybe you should rethink or reflect on that a bit more. You know, I mean, the thing is, when you're, you know, because we live in the society that we do live in, it's like saying a fish isn't wet, especially growing up, you know, being of a certain age. You're just inundated with racism back in the day in a lot of areas here in the States. I didn't delete any comments, sir. I am busy doing Jenga. So yeah, James Henry, it's BS. That's what it is. Hey, Derek Cruz. Yeah, it's obvious that who is it? Pete, Black Pete. Obviously, a problem there. So our Santa tradition isn't considered racist. It's also a state of Santa. Well, you know, I did have a really good conversation with Dr. Kyle about his book, The Myths That Stole Christmas. You can look at it in back episodes. We talked for an hour, and his book is actually really cool because it turns out that capitalism stole Christmas. Who would have thought that with all the gifts? But yeah, capitalism stole Christmas. It's really Dr. Kyle Johnson. It was a great conversation, and I read through his book, and his book is excellent. The Myths That Stole Christmas. I highly recommend it. You know, James Henry, they're up against immigration, so blackface is the hill they decide to stand on. Yeah, that makes, of all the hills to die on, that's the hill. All right, let's see what else I'm going to do. A lack of empathy, indeed. No, I'm curious about this whole, you know, are there any outside agitators, James Henry, causing trouble in Holland about this issue? Or is it just certain actors within Holland causing trouble? I'm like, this is the first tower. Yes, yes, indeed. Tons of mice. You missed my whole coming out to my sister, my blood sister, my sister about being a big godless atheist. Nick Lubeck is the name Germany for him. Oh, also the American right wing. See, there you go. There you go. You know, the American right wing, you know, between the Russian security forces and the American right wing just causing trouble. It's amazing, the whole world. Is it more of a dumpster fire than it is now? Tons of mice. He's got tons of mice. think this one. I think this is going to come out. They give money to yeah, like with Wilders to I just say yep. Well, we were talking this morning on the morning show about Scott Lively, this hate pastor from Springfield, Massachusetts, where I live, well, in the state that I live in, and he was all up in Uganda's government about kill the gays laws, right? Yeah. You know, there's and I've said this before in many a rant, is that, you know, allowing fundamentalists these green zones to operate in. I don't care if the green zones are in Pakistan, in the tribal regions, or in Kentucky, or Texas, or Mississippi. Nothing good comes from that. They always have to be challenged no matter where they are. Fundamentalists need to be challenged. Otherwise, they metastasize, right? They spread the insanity. I know, Blazing. Have you been on Twitter? A lot of people talking smack about Denmark, you know. A lot of people talking about Denmark. You got AOC talking about why can't we be more like Denmark? And you should have seen the amount of Americans who are like, Denmark's not that great. And I'm like, oh, you are brainwashed, my friends. You don't have Twitter? Smart idea, don't do Twitter. I'm not on Twitter. If it wasn't for the blog and my social media, you know. See, yeah, they're using, see, that's how, yeah. And while they're still calling it a Judeo-Christian country now, yeah. Yeah, AOC mentions on Twitter that Denmark, McDonald's pays their workers a living wage, and conservative Twitter goes crazy. But you pay taxes in Denmark. How can you pay taxes? I'm not going to have a chance to have a McMansion if I pay taxes. Makes me livid. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, what I find difficult is that once you know what the dog whistles are, right, what the language is, and then you start hearing it, it is frustrating because it's so commonly repeated. Da da da, no, the block gone. Another step forward, destruction. Is that progress? Maybe it is. I don't know. All right, this tower's going up, so does the camera. Camera's going way up. Oh, hey, dramatic. So I actually made an application out for like a part-time job today. A job that should keep me COVID-free. We'll see if that works out. We used to have a right-wing government 5 years ago, then that broke the law, making immigration policies. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. Huh? Those politicians now face trial. Good for you. Good for you, Blazing. Huh? Yeah, you got to be careful if you're on Facebook. There are certain words like that trash stuff. I've known people recently get banned, pages taken down when putting certain words together. There's a lot of sensitivity on Facebook these days. You know what I should do? I should just give a course about not only how to awkwardly come out to your sister about being a big godless liberal, but also how not to get banned on Facebook. I've only gotten banned once on Facebook for like a week. Yeah, that's not good. It's not good. Well, that's good, Blazing. Oh, really? Huh? Interesting. German rap bands. So I would guess that there are trailer parks in Germany. There we go. Got something coming out right here. I don't think it doesn't want to move, everyone. It doesn't want to move. It's that doesn't want to move either. Latin Jazz Canteen, never heard of them. Oh, it's more of a vacation thing. That's interesting. Berlin. I would like to go to Berlin. I've heard the architecture is pretty remarkable there. Oh yeah, it's too cold to live here in mobile homes, I imagine. Look at that. Not doing too badly, if I do say so myself. So I heard back from the person I'm trying to get to do an interview with on this channel. He's the psychiatrist who runs uh, a movie review blog. He's an atheist on Patheos, and he's going to come on the channel sometime late April. He's got stuff going on. He can't do it now. So it's unfortunate, but he is willing to come on and talk movies and godlessness and psychiatry maybe too. So that should be good in late April. He runs the blog Secular Cinephile. Cinemaphile? I think Secular Cinemaphile. All right, I think this one's going to work, everyone. Oh, look at that. A lot of wobble, but it didn't fall. Huh? Spent a couple of summers in a trailer park, rented a trailer for 2 weeks. Good for you. Sounds like fun. You know, for me, I've always been more of a city vacationer, right? Going to urban areas and check out the theater scene, museum scene. You know, I spent my time out in the woods. Don't get me wrong, but my heart belongs to cities, to hanging out in cities, checking out the scene in cities, getting drunk in cities. Oh, really? Dublin, huh? Oh, that's right, dude. Because you said you're off the grid pretty much, right? You said that you're pretty much living off grid, which, tiny homes, dude. I love tiny homes. My condo before I moved in with my girlfriend, it was 585 square feet, and even that was too much space for me. Even that was too much space. I could have easily have had a smaller apartment, especially since I had a storage container. I'm going to turn on a bit of light here. And I had a storage container downstairs in the basement, and the light's not plugged in, and I don't know why, but it isn't. Oh, there it is. All right. So yeah, 585 square feet was more than enough for me. And like I said, even that was too much. Blazing. I have very different vacations. It depends on where I go. Oh, we went to the Philippines, huh? The heat made me go springs and water parks, and yeah. Philippines seems awfully warm for me. Dude, congratulations, David Paul. Got scheduled for my vaccine at the VA on Saturday. Sweet. Good job for you. Yeah, going to ruins, right? Yeah, checking out the ruins and everything. That's what I'd be spending most of my time doing. I only caught a bit of this story last night on the news. I haven't seen anything more about it. There's a Brazilian variant of the virus that is troublesome. I don't know if anyone else has heard about it. I guess I should do something. Since I'm talking about it now, I should actually do some research on it and look it up. I have never visited Portugal. Nope. It's supposed to be a beautiful country. Get the port line from there, huh? From Jenga, I think I made it 30, a little bit higher. What's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Yeah, usually when I get into the 30s, that's when the problems happen. The 30s, that's when the problems start. Like this. It becomes a question about every single move becomes more difficult. Yeah, dude, that must be pretty cool. Blazing. I saw Fellini's movie The Good Life, Dice Dolce or something like that, and there was some pretty incredible shots of Rome back. It was a black and white movie, so it had to have been in the late 50s, maybe 60, 61. If my girlfriend was here, she would know. I was in Portugal. Well, I hear it's still there, David Paul. That's what I've heard. I've heard, and tell me if I'm wrong with this, everyone. I've heard that Portugal has decriminalized all drugs. That's what I remember hearing or reading. They decriminalized everything. Oh, it's pretty good. Now this is, I think we're getting up to like level 31 here. Yes, Portugal has decriminalized drugs. Yeah. Well, Portuguese, the Portuguese, they're in a pretty sweet position in Europe, right? I mean, they got out of World War I and World War II. From what I understand, they were neutral in both conflicts. at least for most of the wars. I mean, they might have jumped in at the very end. Weed but not hard drugs. I'm a huge mature. No, really. That's what I've heard, Blazing. They have a great program for people with heroin addictions. Yeah, yeah. I can see that about moving to Portugal from what I've heard about it. That's gonna suck. Yeah, their drug policy always struck me as rational, right? I don't know if any of you have seen the last vacation I took to Excelsior Springs, very Marvel superheroes kind of Excelsior Stan Lee, to Missouri, to see the 2017 total eclipse. Interesting. Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, that's you have to. Yeah. The thing that the Japanese did, and most of you probably already know this, is that once they decided to come out of isolation, they sent people around the world to figure out which were the best countries doing the activities they needed to do. So who had the best military, who had the best navy, who had the best industrial centers, what countries had the best education systems. And then when those diplomats, those agents came back to Japan, Japan adopted those systems. And that's why Japan industrialized so quickly. It would be nice if countries that were already established would learn from each other quickly, and that would learn from each other and take the best practices and utilize them. But I think that's a difficult lift for a lot of nations. I visited America but didn't like it. Where were you at, James Henry? There's a lot of America not to like. This is not how we should do it. Blazing. I mean, it doesn't matter where the good idea comes from, or the good policy comes from. If it works, then you should use it. Well, part of the reason why I do the blog and the YouTube channel and everything is so in case whenever I need to crash on a sofa somewhere, there's places around the globe that I can crash at. Oh yeah, the Portuguese were the first Europeans to live in Japan. Yeah, the Jesuits. Yep. Loyola was the one who founded the Jesuits, correct? Was it Loyola? Yeah, they did some reading about Loyola because I was writing a script about Jesuits years ago. I think it was Loyola was the founder of the Jesuits. And the funny thing about the guy who founded the Jesuits was that, what was it? It was his leg that got damaged during a siege or during a battle. Now, I can't use this block because that's the first. So he got I believe it was his leg damaged. No clue, Andy. I think it was Loyola. That's what happens when you're a Baptist atheist, right? We don't know what the Catholic atheists know so much. But the guy who founded the Jesuits, he had I think it was his leg, damaged in a fight, in a conflict, and the doctors at the time did not set it to his liking. And so what he did was that he had them re-break it. He had them re-break it and reset it. All right, so what's going to work? What looks like it's going to work? This block looks like it should work. I guess I was wrong. I was right until the point that I was wrong. Right up until the point I was wrong. Wah, wah. Gotta break my legs. See, now I'm going to find out. Jesuits founder. Ignatius of Loyola. There we go. Hey. Not that bad for an idiot, huh? Ignatius of Loyola. So I was kind of sort of right. I knew his name was Loyola. So yes. So Loyola, crazy guy. Let's see. The trailer parks here have no go zone. Yeah, those aren't good. All right, and the tower drops. Texas loves COVID. It does at that. You know, the idea that Massachusetts, and this is like I was saying in the morning show, you know, the Massachusetts has like opened up its indoor dining quite a bit. It's like, no, thank you. I don't feel like I want to risk that anytime soon. Yeah, Texas seems set on just making the whole situation worse. Let's see. Now I get to use my left hand. What time is it? Yeah, I've got time for another tower. I'm trying to be try to be efficient with my time today. All right. See, now I'm just being awkward with the tower. That's why I'm being a very polarized population. Well, if COVID didn't show us or prove the point that though we are capable of reason, we are not a reasonable species, you know, I don't know what could. Like this is basically we're all living in a Twilight Zone episode with people acting the way that they're acting. It's let me tell you, sociologists are going to be looking back at this time and wondering what's going on. I think blazing. I think Antarctica is very polarized. I see what you did there. Very good. 10 points. 10 points. Lockdown since Christmas and curfew mid-January. That's impressive. You knew that before? Oh, do they? The cops enforce the COVID rules rigorously. Well, that's good. It's good to hear that some place does enforce COVID rules. Don't they give people a fine, James Henry? I think you mentioned that before. that there's a real fine that people have to pay if they get caught not following the rules. I'll tell you, I was walking down the street from where I live, um, maybe a couple of months ago. When COVID was bad, €95. Okay, and there's a small police station. Not the main department, of course, but not the main police station. But there's still a small one down the street, and there's a guy walking by the station without a mask on. A cop, the cop, came out, gave him a mask, which the guy put on. So that was good. I'm not against, giving people fines. I've done thrown my mask away. Sounds nice. Well, people do. I mean, people do start acting crazy in spring, don't they? Right? Your brain tells them it's time to go outside and do stuff. Cannot enter shops without a mask and public transport. I believe, as I haven't been on transportation for a very long period of time. I believe Biden made it. It's a federal mandate that people have to wear a mask on public transportation. Of course, the problem is, if you're a bus driver enforcing that rule, right? I mean, you got a crappy job to begin with, or you got a hard job. It isn't a crappy job. It's a hard job being a bus driver in the city. And under normal circumstances, but now you're driving with COVID and you're trying to enforce public health policies, and it's tough for them to do it. Yeah, we were starting to reopen shops, otherwise people would become really angry real soon. Yeah. I told you, I was ready to write off a year. And I haven't been out of work for a year. I've been out of work for about 6-7 months at this point. And my life had been relatively not too affected from March last year up until October, I think. September, that's when I left my job. But yeah, I'm stir crazy, everyone. I'm stir crazy. No clothing shops open, but flower shops. Well, that sounds weird. You can only have 2 visitors and they must live in the same household. Interesting, James Henry. James Henry, I don't know if you saw that. One of my high-performing posts on my blog, Laughing in Disbelief, is about Amsterdam officially designating Melania Trump as a sex worker. It seems to be popular. Oh, Texas Roadhouse, dude. Yeah. There's a Texas Roadhouse in the city I used to live in, Brockton. And that place, under normal circumstances, was packed every night. So I could just imagine, there's this whole don't mess with Texas, even in the Texas, even if you're not in Texas, but if you're Texas Roadhouse, yeah. They have the transport police to enforce it. Besides, all public transports have cameras. Yep. Buses, trains. Yep. Subway. Just like that. All right. You've never been inside one of a Texas Roadhouse? I don't think you're missing a whole lot. It is, culturally speaking, it's interesting to walk into one. If you don't, master driver will call 911. Very good. That's the way, dude. Blazing. Thank you. Because whenever I'm about to make a cultural reference, I'm like Roadhouse. I don't know if anyone else is going to get it, but yeah, that Roadhouse episode, Family Guy, that is magic. I actually sat through Roadhouse, I don't know, maybe a couple of months ago, and it was just as ridiculous as I remembered it to be. Come on, it's gonna fall. It's gonna come out. Maybe not. Maybe not. Guess we just told Andy. I hear that happens if you don't die, right? I was reading in the book. I'm reading through this book by Sanjay Gupta about keeping yourself mentally sharp. And what was I going to say? I was going to say something relevant here, but I'm multitasking, and multitasking is not something any brain is good at, but particularly as you get older. What was the TV show with the Earl the dinosaur? Earl? Like, Call Me Earl? There's always a Land of the Lost from like back in the 70s. Don't call me Earl. Just call me Earl. Just call me Earl. And it's always fatal, Blazing. You're right about that. Oh, dinosaurs. That was a horrible show. I mean, it was a funny show. Don't get me wrong, because it was like, it ran off that whole Simpsons family, and they were dinosaurs. I'm the baby. That's it. That was the tagline for the baby dinosaur. You can just see that some paleontologists would be angry, saying someone should have feathers. There should be dinosaurs with feathers in there, not the mama. There you go. Nish the mama. Yeah, and he was back to dad with something. Not the mama. So as my divorce day is getting that Earl Sinclair. So as my divorce day is getting closer, which happens to be April 1st, I think we should have some kind of celebration for those of us who are happily divorced. I think there should be some kind of holiday, and if there isn't a holiday, then God, there really should be. With the choleric triceratops boss. I was talking to my girlfriend about this yesterday. If there were like vampire dinosaurs, would the triceratops horns be like the fangs? I don't think they would be, but it could be, because they could just be straws, right? If they're like dinosaurs, they wouldn't necessarily have to feed from their mouths. They could feed off the horns. Well, America has, yeah, we have a gambit. We have a gambit of humor. There's no doubt about that. Stand-up comedy, you can argue, is an American form, is an American art form that started out primarily here in the States. Um, yeah, I really want that block to go, but it's not going. You're right about that, tons of mice. Everyone should be married and divorced by the time they're 30. Gets them to appreciate things, I think. My starter marriage lasted 20 years. That's my problem right there. Booze is in order, indeed. Never married James Henry. Oh yeah. I remember you saying that. That's not unwise. There are two things that drive otherwise normal sane people. There are two things, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, everyone. There are two things that'll drive otherwise sane people insane. One, divorce. Two, inheritance. Like if someone dies within the family and there's inheritance that has to be divided up amongst family members. Those are the two things that I've seen drive normal everyday people completely effing nuts. Completely nuts. In fact, if anything, there should be a tutorial. There should be a class. There should be a class in people like in how to navigate those two situations. Oh, hey, love connection right there. I was listening to Mel Brooks on a podcast a couple of years ago, and I guess he got his start in comedy in the Army when he was in the military during the war. George Carlin and D. James Henry. I've always thought that a wise way to structure marriage is to have a renewal, right? You'd get like a 5 year, maybe whatever, and people could agree on how long they want to be married for, and then you get to sign back up if you're interested, right? Bill Hicks, genius, yeah. Tragic, genius. Yeah, it came out of vaudeville, right? It came out of the vaudeville tradition. I feel like I'm Don Quixote and I'm finally, this is my impossible dream. No, it still refuses to budge. It gets like this far out, everyone. I'm going to do it. Oh, yes. Yes. Dave Chappelle is fantastic. Talented guy. I have a soft spot for Anthony Jeselnik. He does a certain brand of dark humor that not for everybody, not for everybody, but definitely something I enjoy. I've seen how family can become estranged because of a family member passing. Yeah. Oh, it's a pain mill. That's what it is. It's like a pepper shaker of pain, like a. So yeah, because of a family passing. Yeah, dude. Tobin, it's tough. A buddy of mine is in the middle of it right now with brothers and sisters and everything, and it's tough. Brooks was a 2,000-year-old man. What war did he get his start in? The Peloponnesian? Good. I like that. I like it a lot. I guess him and Reiner would just do the bit at parties, right? Him and Carl Reiner. Yeah, Reiner would do the. Him and Brooks would just do the bit at parties, if I'm remembering the story properly. And then people are like, "You got to record this crap, man. You got to record this." I don't know. You can't make somebody love you. That's true. It's all midbrain. It's all irrational. Well, that did not work out. Look, but I have all these kind of they're just blocks, ultimately. Well, I was trying to get the block. I was trying to get the blocks free, and the blocks wouldn't go free. You're still married, Tobin Tuppelman. Well, I'm a long-term relationship person. I like being in long-term relationships and being married. I've just soured off of marriage. I'm not soured off of relationships. It was good. Well, it was, I feel like, only 1 or 2 blocks actually made it on the floor. So I feel that was pretty good. Use your jacket. I know, Theo. I know. I need to use the jacket. I blame the black hole in the center of the galaxy, Andy. It's a gravity wave. Well, that's what it does. It sends gravity, anti-Jenga, gravity waves, gravitons over here and destroys. It destroys Jenga towers. That's what it does. Yeah, some people are happy being in couples. Some people aren't. I mean, I've seen a lot of people happy in couples. I've seen a lot of people who are happy being not in couples. See, we got a lot of grease here tonight. They're building a Coliseum. How long do you think that place will last? I give it a year. That's right. All right, everyone. I got to get to work, or I have to do something constructive, right? Tomorrow morning, right? Tomorrow morning, I'm going to do the show like I always do. Jenga radiation proven. That's right. I'm going to get a Jenga tumor pretty soon. All right, everyone. Hey, I could talk and just talk, but I got to be constructive. So tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., and we'll just do news and share some laughs and some good times. Thanks for the support, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.